Today's interview features Loren Harris of the Kingdom Heirs. If it's your first time here, click that subscribe button and make sure you click the bell to get notifications. Hey friends, this is Fouch, and friends, thank you for being here today. Today I have Loren Harris with me. Man, I appreciate you joining me for the interview today. How are you?
Well, man, I'm doing well. Thanks for inviting me. It's been funny. I've been aggravating you a while. You'd put something out there and I was like, no, it ain't me. And so you must be scrubbing the bottom of the barrel today.
Right. You're
That's
not the
cool.
only one that gives me a hard time about stuff like that. And
Right,
so
right. Yeah,
I've,
that's
le-
funny.
I've learned how to deal with it.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah. But doing
Man, I'm
well, doing well.
I'm so glad that we were able to make it work, and you could take some time and join me today. Like you mentioned, we've not had you on before, and I am super excited to learn some things about you that I don't know. But to start
Okay.
off, man, just share with the folks what in the world has been going on in your world for the last 5 or 6 months.
Well, been singing Dollywood, doing about 4 days a week. And right now we're singing outside. All the indoor theaters are closed, so we're singing outside. And which is an event, with the weather and just, the distraction of people walking by and just all that. It's really different, obviously, than being in a theater. But right now we're doing 2 shows a day, 10:30 and 12:15, and doing, like I said, 4 days a week. And we were off 3 months. We came off the road March 1st from our tour, winter tour, and we were off 3 months before Dollywood opened back up. So that's what I've been doing. Just doing that, and then hanging around the house with my new grandson and enjoying him on my 3 days off. So that's been fun.
Talk about the difference between, you've had a rich history in gospel music, singing with several groups throughout the years. Talk
Right.
about the difference between the full-time touring around the country, getting on the bus every weekend, and then just doing that a couple months a year. And the rest of the year, you're going, 3 or 4, 5 days a week to the parks, doing 3 or 4 concerts a day. Talk about the differences there.
It's a big difference in the case you get to be home every night, and I enjoy that. We tour in the winter, maybe 7 weeks, something like that. And it's only just Thursday through Sunday. So it's easy. But I know when we get on the bus on our first date, we're like, is it March yet? Because March is because none of us likes to be gone from home.
Yeah.
But, we do it since when Dollywood's closed, we do it. And it's fun. But having kids, when I came off the road with the Perrys, my son was 5, my daughter was 1. And so I just knew it was time. And Tracy and Libby kind of seen that it was time that I come home and be with them. Because, you put in a lot of time. 250 days a year, being gone, and we were gone a lot. I mean, we done a lot of touring, and I was missing out on time with kids and family, and it's tough. And I loved singing with the Wilburns and the Perrys when I was on the road full time. But it's just enough now. We kind of scratched the road itch, because I enjoy it. You get to see a lot of people, and it's so different than singing in a theater. Getting to sing in churches and stuff, and getting to see people on a different basis. So it's just enough. But buddy, like I said, about the second week of February, we're like, March here yet? We're ready to go back. Because we get spoiled being at home every night. You know how it is. So
Yeah, man. But I mean, you mentioned being with the Wilburns and the Perrys. For those folks that are watching that aren't familiar with that part of your singing history, why don't you give the rundown real quick, and then even what you did after the Perrys as the
okay.
bridge towards being back singing with the Kingdom Heirs now.
Okay. Yeah. In 96, joined the Wilburns, and it's funny, Jonathan Wilburn hired me, and then 3 weeks later he left to go with Gold City. And I'm like, man, it's bad when you join a group and you run off family members. That's crazy. But I remember Jackie telling me, he said, no, we're going to go on. He said, we'll find somebody else. And they hired my buddy Ricky Atkinson, and I sang with them for about 4 years to the year 2000. And then I went with the Perrys and loved being with the Perrys. I mean, and the Wilburns too, just family groups. And I feel part of both families. I really do. I'm very close to both families. And singing with the Perrys was great, and getting to see Joseph Habedank when he was just a snotty-nosed kid coming on the bus. And I was like, golly, I remember Tracy saying, he's good, but you and Libby's going to have to help raise him. But, I mean, he was a great little talent. I knew he had a big future. I mean, he's blew it up, But getting to sing with him and Kurt Davis, and, of course, Tracy and Libby was a lot of fun. But I was with them through 2006 and came off the road and started working full time in my church as worship leader and administrator. And I was with them for 10 years up through 2016. And that's when I joined the Kingdom Heirs. And honestly, Joseph asked me a long time ago, he said, what job would get you back to singing full time? And I kind of jokingly said, well, the Kingdom Heirs, just kind of joking about it, thinking, well, Arthur will never leave. He's a lead, and Steve will never leave. He's the owner and baritone. And I remember the day the announcement came out, Joe texted me and he's like, who are you singing with? I was like, the Kingdom Heirs. Can you believe that? I said, isn't that crazy how God works? But I enjoyed my time at the church. Now, I wouldn't have left. If this job hadn't came open, I'd still be there. I mean, I really enjoyed, and we still attend there, but I enjoyed working at the church and doing the music and stuff. And, but this was a once in a lifetime thing of getting basically the job of my dreams was to sing with those guys. And so it's been a lot of fun.
Man, talking to you, I don't know if folks are picking up, but you've got some low end on your voice. So do you have, can you sing on that bottom end, or is that just part of your talking voice, or how does that work?
No, actually I can. And me and Jeff go back and forth all the time backstage, and he was like, here, hit this note, and I actually talk lower than he does. And what's funny, I normally need to talk up here. That's where my singing voice is at. Mm-hmm. So I give voice lessons and I preach your speaking voice needs to be the same as your singing voice. But I'm a lazy talker and I like to talk down. So anyway, I've done 2 shows today too. So that kind of gives me a pass. I've sung already and so I'm tired. But anyway, people that don't know us will come up to me and talk to me. We bet you the bass singer. I'm like, you have no clue. You've never heard a bass singer. You're Chapman, he's a beast. But after my voice changed when I was a kid, the bottom fell out of it. I was a high tenor as a kid when I sang with my family. And then the bottom fell out of it. And so I've got decent highs, but that's the thing I know Arthur and Chris like about me being the baritone for the Kingdom Heirs is I can get down there with Jeff and give that big bottom end, on that low stuff, but yeah, a lot of people, they hear me talk, I bet you're a bass singer. I'm like, no, I'm actually a baritone lead, but I can sing a little bass, when I need to. I sang bass in college in the men's choir, and that was fun. It wasn't all these, obviously, Southern gospel, but it was fun, and I like to pretend I'm a bass singer. So anyway.
So when having the range that you have, having nice, rich lows or low end to your baritone voice, and then still being able to sing up there pretty high, who are some of the guys that you listened to as you started singing, kind of try to develop your voice after?
Well, as a young kid, Rusty Goodman, just because, he'd sing the bass on some songs and get up and sing Who Am I, sing the lead on. Of course, Mark Trammell, that's a given. If you're a baritone, then Mark Trammell's your hero. It's just the way it is. So Mark's rich tones, Gerald Wolf's rich tones. I was a big Kenny Henson fan as a kid, and I think everybody was. I mean, he was the main, I loved his tones. And now high end, I like to sing like my sidekick, King Arthur, just because he's got that. He has no lows at all. We aggravate him backstage. We'll say, here's a bass note. And he's like, he has nothing, and he knows it. But the man, when he gets right there in his range, holy Lord, it's incredible. Yeah. And so I always loved his singing. And so I guess from the bottom end, of being a fan of Rusty and of Mark, and then the higher end lead stuff like like Kenny and then like Arthur. So I guess that's some of the guys that I kind of grew up listening to and maybe mimicking, trying to mimic tones or whatever. So yeah, probably that.
Hey, what's been one of the most cherished moments that you have over the 15 years or right around 15 years that you've been singing?
Wow, that's I've had a lot. I've got to meet a lot of people, got to see a lot of things, a lot of great things take place. One of the things I'll never forget was when I was with the Perrys and my son was born. You know, my son, I was 31, I think it was, and he actually turns 20 tomorrow. So getting to bring him on stage at the Louisville convention, and he was 3 weeks old. Of course, he was just cradling him like a football in my arm. And Tracy introduced him, you know, and that was a neat thing. But on the spiritual end of it, my first date at convention with Kingdom Heirs, 2016, I actually joined them on Saturday. My first date with them, Arthur sent me 35 songs and said, I need you to learn these songs as quick as possible. And I've done 3 shows with them on Saturday, 3 shows on Sunday at Dollywood, and then Monday we went to convention. Stepped on stage, didn't know half the lyrics. I'm like, please just get 5 songs that I really know real well. But, you know, and I was freaking out just thinking, you know, I've sang on this stage before, but being with a new group and having new material, I was like, man, this, you know, I've got to keep it together here. We came off stage, and this was the neatest thing, and I share this story quite often. I came off stage, and there was this guy standing there, and all of us came off stage together, all of us guys, and we were kind of mingling. You know how it is. You've been there. Kind of mingling in, you know, you giving your belt pack back and your microphone back to the sound guys. And this guy stood there, and all the guys were just kind of weaving around him. And he came up to me, and he said, would you mind praying with me? And I said, certainly. And I said, let's go back here to the back of the auditorium, just, you know, out of everybody's eye shot, and because another group was going on. Went back there, and he said, I don't think I've ever been saved. He said, I went to church as a kid with my grandmother, and he said, I thought I was saved. And he said, God told me tonight to come specifically to you to ask you to pray with me. So I prayed with him and told him, you know, what it took to be a Christian. And I hope he accepted the Lord. You know, I feel he did, and I hope he did. And we prayed, and I went back to the table, and the guys were like, where have you been? I had tears in my eyes, and I kind of told them, and Arthur, he said, that was confirmation tonight that you're where you need to be, you know. Wow. And that was a big moment, you know, because having the confirmation that you're where you need to be in the Lord's work, because I left a great job at my church, and I love my church. But having the confirmation 3 days in that, hey, this guy could have asked Arthur, Jerry, Jeff, any of those guys to pray, but he came to me. And Arthur said, you were supposed to be here with the Kingdom Heirs singing baritone tonight. So that's a big moment for me. That really is.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. What a great memory, something to hang on to throughout your life and in your career. Speaking of, when you come to the end of your time singing, whenever that might be, what do you hope the legacy is that you leave as a singer in this music?
I hope that people will realize and remember me as being a down-to-earth guy, an humble guy, and a guy that had the anointing on not only his singing, but his life, you know, because to me, that's a big thing. You can hit all the notes, and I try to, you know, because when I'm wallering between Arthur and Jeff, you know, I'm trying to hang in there and hit the notes, you know, and, but I just want to come across as very personable, and that when I'm ministering a song to somebody, I want them to be able to come up to me and say, hey, will you pray with me? Yeah. I want to be that guy that's down to earth and personable. You know, I'm not a star. I'm not. And I want that. My mama taught me. My dad was a preacher. My mama was a church pianist. She taught me a long time ago, if you ever think that you're something, she said, I pray that God will take you down a notch. And I was a kid when she told me that, and I still remember that. Yeah. And so I want my legacy to be that he was very friendly, he was very personable, and that his singing was anointed, because I think in the end that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's good. You know? And I've always enjoyed your singing. I remember the Perry albums when I was first introduced into this music in 2004. I think
Right.
that's who you were with at that time. And I always enjoyed hearing you sing, and you always do a great job. And every interaction that we've ever had has always been very friendly. And,
Good.
I think you're doing a great job at building that legacy that you hope to leave. I
Good.
think
Hope so.
you're on your way with that, man. Hey, give the
Great.
folks the website, the social handles, all that stuff for where they can connect with you and the Kingdom Heirs.
Okay. Well, I'm on Facebook, of course, and Instagram a little bit. Dennis got me into Instagram. I still don't understand it totally, but I'm a Facebook junkie, and I'm in most of the stuff. 75% of my stuff's crazy. It's just stupid stuff that I put on there. So it is, sometimes I get serious, but very, very rarely I don't. So that, and then of course, Kingdom Heirs, our Facebook, and our website is kingdomheirs.com. And of course, they can find our schedule on kingdomheirs.com or
Yeah.
dollywood.com. So
Well,
that's
look,
it.
man, I've enjoyed this today. I have learned a couple things about you that I didn't know, and I'm so
Thanks,
glad you got
Matt.
to be with me today, man. Thank you for being
I
here.
appreciate it. Hey, thanks for having me, buddy. Take care.
Have a good one.
All right, you too. Bye bye.